Deshma with the Rambam. Before we read the Rambam must be consistent with the Gemara. The Rambam doesn't make up his own stuff. We all agree, Nafon? Let's start the Gemara. The Gemara says, Hakamash Malan, the Mouad Le'adam, Mouad Lebehama. Mouad Lebehama is not Mouad Le'adam. Come the Rambam in Perek Chet Aloche, Perek Vav Aloche Chet. Chet or Tet?
That was where I saw the...
Yes, you went too far. So Perek Chet, Perek Vav Aloche Chet says the Rambam very clear. Muad le'adam, eno muad לבהמה. Rambam, Miki. Rambam. What's going on? The Gemara says very clear, Muad le'adam, Muad לבהמה. Muad לבהמה, eno muad le'adam. And the Rambam says Mamesh exactly the opposite of our Gemara. Muad le'adam, eno muad לבהמה. So the first shayla you hear, what? פרק אחד. The Gemara says Muad le'adam, מה ומועד לבהמה? מועד לבהמה, לא מועד לאדם. The Rambam says the opposite of the Gemara. Muad le'adam, eno muad לבהמה. How can the Rambam argue? It says exactly opposite of a Gemara. Question number one. Question number two. שאלנו הרב אליהו, למה הרמב"ם חולק על הגמורה? The Gemara says very clear, מועד לאדם, מועד לבהמה. And the Rambam מלוך פרק ו' says מועד לאדם, לא מועד לבהמה. פרק עשירי, says the Rambam, what's the case of a בהמה who killed אדם to pay כופר? למה שישלם כופר? So the Rambam says the Rambam, few cases. So the last case the Rambam bring, not the last case, second to last case, וכן אם סיכן שלושה בני אדם כאחד, או הרג גיבל בהמות, הרי זה מועד להריגה, ובעליו משלמים את הכופר. So send the Rambam, the case where Baalim will pay kofar, the problem is we know, in order to pay kofar, you got to kill 3 times. If an animal killed already once, Beit Din will kill the animal. How can you have a case where the animal would be killing 3 times?
You gotta wait.
Will be a muad. How can you have a case of muad? The Rambam bring the case would be either siken shalosh behemot, either he made dangerous 3 behemot. I'm sorry. Siken shlosha anashim, he made dangerous 3 people. Ke'echad. Or harag shalosh behemot, or he killed 3 animals. And number one, the biggest basic question on the Gemara is, on the Rambam soter himself, as the Magid Mishneh in Perek Yudi says that if he killed 3 behemot will be muad le'adam, and in Perek Vav he said very clear muad le'adam, eno muad lebehema. And he learns kal vachomer, if muad le'adam is not muad lebehema, kol sheken that muad lebehema, it's not muad le'adam. So how can in Perek Yud the Rambam says that the way to be muad le'adam if he killed 3 animals? It's impossible. Muad lebehema, and no muad le'adam. So the Lechem Mishneh, what was it? The Magid Mishneh. So the first one was the Magid Mishneh is the one who asked. No, the Kesef Mishneh. The Kesef Mishneh give an answer to make a chiluk. Here we're talking about le'ariga. Misheinken. In Perek Vav we're talking about nizakin. So by nizakin, muad לבהמה, it's not muad לאדם. By hariga, muad לבהמה is muad לאדם. So the chiluk is very good, and that when I read it, I thought the same. But what's the logic behind it? Why we should say chiluk שדווקא בנזיקין מועד לבהמה is not מועד לאדם, but להריגה מועד לבהמה is מועד לאדם. Logically we can say exactly the opposite. By nezakim it should be the same because damaging is not as hard, but killing a man and killing an animal, it's 2 different things. By man, we're working hard, we can cure the guy, he can avoid it, you can cure him. By animal, if the Emma died, today they have hospitals for animals, נכון? Animals for animals for animals. But the באמת, back then was no hospitals, בהמה dying is dying. So how come by נזקים, נזק for בהמה will not be נזק for אדם? And by הריגה, נזק for בהמה will be נזק for אדם, the logic doesn't make sense. Furthermore, very,
Sorry, by נזקים, if it's מועד,
the way the case mentioned is here, by נזקים, מועד לבהמה will not be מועד לאדם, and by מיתה will be. It doesn't make sense. The logic is exactly the opposite. Few more highlights in the Lashon. The Rambam combined two cases which seems nothing to do with the other. The case is וכן אם סיכן שלושה בני אדם כאחד, או שהרג שלוש בהמות. What's the connection? So what the case of סיכן שלושה בהמות כאחד? The Maggid Mishnah brings, like the way Rashi explained, that he סיכן אותם, and then they died on the same day. They died, since they died on the same day, it means that they all became mouad on the same moment. So after he gored, after his nogeach, the fourth one, the fourth three that he siken, he put in dangerous, died. There is a big issue with it. The Rambam says clear, in order to make somebody muad, you got to kill on 3 different days. This is, I saw in Chidush Rabbeinu Simcha, he asked. This is a Gemara, if you have a chance to see it tomorrow, in Daf Mem Aleph or Mud Aleph. And over there, Rashi's pshat with the Maggid Mishneh assumed that the Rambam learns like Rashi. So, if the Rambam learns like Rashi, you have a big problem, because in order to have da'ah, you need 3 actions of mitah, 3 different days. Here it became in one day. You don't have 3 separate days.
It's a safek.
Huh?
It's a safek, the Rambam writes. And that's what we exactly learned. That she'im mouad bo shlosha kiteh.
By the way, if you don't mind, I promise the guys that I'll give shiur and then we'll do questions, because it's hard for. So the shaila is only if it's mamash negia. So the shaila is, how come, according to the Rambam, you create negicha ke'achat when in one shot you're making it muad? With muad you need to have 3 days, because if the mitah occurred in one day, you don't have 3 days of muad.
And then he meet. Like a fourth one.
Yeah, the first one they meet, and then the first 3 died.
It's not
השלושה הקודמים מתו. לא, זה מה שהוא אומר. פירוש ולא מתו, וכשנגח הרביעי מתו כולן. Yes, the רביעי died. So he said that כשנגח הרביעי מתו כולן, so רבינו שמחה asked, you don't have 3 נגיחות of מיטה on one day, how can you create a show muad? Interesting that Rambam brings the word ke'echad. Obviously it wasn't ke'echad, נכון? The Gemara doesn't say the word ke'echad. Rambam quotes the Gemara. The Gemara doesn't say ke'echad. What makes the Rambam to say ke'echad? One more question on Perek Vav. In Perek Vav, the Rambam writes the halacha in a very weird way. Perek Vav הלוך החטא, שור שהוא מועד למינו, הרי זה אינו מועד לשאינו מינו. That's halacha 1, which means the simple pshat, שור שהוא מועד למינו, if he מועד for חמור, שור, is not מועד לחמור. Second part of the halacha, מועד לאדם, אינו מועד לבהמה. Why it doesn't say the same language? הרי זה אינו מועד לבהמה. מועד לקטנים, should say הרי זה אינו מועד לגדולים. The Rambam changed his language by using שור שהוא מועד למינו, הרי זה אינו מועד לשאינו מינו, which seems to be strange. So in order to understand what the question that bothers
Can you also read Tet, just the first line?
Tet, it's not part of it.
No?
So the shaila is, so באמת, in order to understand, the biggest issue is Rambam always reads Gemara. Rambam doesn't make up his own pshatim, and it's precise. Rosh Hashanah would tell us, it's precise with the words of the Gemara. So when Rambam makes a pshat, it must be He read those words in the Gemara. Where did the Rambam read in the Gemara? Where in our sugya, the Gemara says very clear, Muad le'adam is Muad lebehema, when the Rambam doesn't say it. So we're taking the following, Misyat Yishmael. When the Gemara says Muad le'adam is Muad lebehema, means we understand clear that Muad le'adam it's a harder action, and Muad lebehema it's a softer action. So when you see an animal who has the urge, who has the ability to be Muad le'adam, can you say that this animal will kill also behema?
Yeah.
Logically, yes. Lama? Because if it's okay to do a harsh, would be okay to do soft. Therefore, the Gemara says, Muad le'adam is Muad lebehema. Because if he's Muad to do something hard, he will be Muad to do something soft.
Is the
אבל,
Just so I understand.
מועד לבהמה, it's not מועד לאדם. Because מועד לבהמה, it's something softer. How do you know that נגיחה of בהמה will cause her to do נגיחה also of Adam? It's softer. It's not as hard. So therefore, the Gemara says very clear. מועד לאדם contain with it מועד לבהמה. But מועד לבהמה, it's not מועד לאדם. The Gemara used the words milte agav orchei komash malan, which means we're not teaching a din over here, we're teaching an idea over here. Conceptually, you should know that muad le'adam is muad le'behema, but muad le'behema it's not muad le'adam, but it's milta agav orchei. Lama? Come the Rambam in Aloche, comes Aloche in Perek Vav Aloche Chet. And he says the following. He says, you're right that muad le'adam should be muad le'behema. But there is a technical issue. You know what's the issue? She'eno mino. And we have a rule, muad lemin echad is not muad lemin acher. Very simple. Although the harsh action contains בהמה action, which is softer, but יש לך בעיה אחרת. This is מינו, and this is שאינו מינו. So therefore, let's read the Rambam Perek Vav. Says the Rambam, שור שהוא מועד למינו, הרי זה, what's הרי זה means? He give you all of the principle for the following halachot. He's not saying the first Mishnah that muad לבהמה is not muad לחיה. He's giving you the principles of the following halachot. Anyone is muad למino, הרי זה אינו מועד לאינו מינו. What drive out of such a statement? מועד לאדם אינו מועד לבהמה. Why מועד לאדם is not מועד לבהמה? Because מועד לאדם is מינו, מועד לבהמה זה לא מינו. בסדר? So far? Clear. So therefore the Rambam is smooth. מועד לבהמה is not מועד לאדם, מועד לאדם is not מועד לבהמה. comes the Rambam in Perek Yud. קטנים גדולים also, it's different type of a mean. קטנים, it's another type of a mean, it's not מועד לגדולים. comes the Rambam in Perek Yud and they bring all no halachas. In Perek Yud, what's the case in Perek Yud? We're talking about that this animal killed Adam, but previously did something else. So let's see the first case of the Rambam. כגון שסיכן 3 בני אדם. We said the way the Lechem Mishneh learned כגון שסיכן 3 בני אדם, it means that he gored them, and after the fourth one, 3 of them died. And then we have an issue with it. If it's happened in one time, how do you make him into muad? I think the pshat is mamish different than the way the Lechem Mishneh, and I saw this is the Gemara in Daf Mem Aleph, I saw one of the Meforshim also say, he said the same, that's a pshat siken. Siken doesn't mean bechlal. Let's read the words of the Gemara. What siken means? Sakana. He says הרג? siken והרג לא. It says siken. באמת. Siken means, we need to see the Gemara in Daf Mem Aleph. Open the Gemara Daf Mem Aleph 1 second. בוא נראה את הגמרא, תראה איך זה יושב. עמוד? מ"א עמוד א' משנה. שנגח את האדם. If a short gored אדם ומת, if a short gored אדם and he died, משלם כופר. So, simple. שור שנגח אדם and he died, משלם כופר. Let's jump to the גמורה. פרידי גמורה, ומאחר, וכי מאחר דמתם קטלינן לי, since by the time you already killed them, מועד, איך היא משכחת לה? How can you have a case of מועד? says the גמורה, אומר רבא, אחא במה עסקינן, כגון שעמדו לשלושה בני אדם. talking about שעמדו לשלושה בני אדם, מה זה פשט? They estimate them that he should have killed 3 people. The way Rashi explains, שעמדו שלושה בני אדם, שרץ אחריהם, he ran after them, זה אחר זה, וברחו מפניו, they ran away from him, ועמדו, they estimate, שאם לא ברחו, היה אורגן. If they couldn't run away, והיה אורגן. So the case to create, the Hava Min of the Gemara, the case to create a Muad, 3 times he tried to kill people, but Baruch Hashem, they ran away from him. חזק וברוך. פרידי גמורה, רבשי אומר, אומדנה, לאו כלום הוא. מה זה אומדנה? כאילו, somebody told me הוא משחק תופסת, איך הוא תופסת באנגלית? טאג, אמרתי, נו, מי ניצח? הוא אומר לי, כמעט תפסתי אותו. כמעט, he's not doing you did anything. That's a professional guy, also by כמעט know how to get. מה זה כמעט? I almost did it.
אצל רבשי.
So there's a Rashi says, כמעט, אומדנה, okay, almost, לאו כלום, it's nothing. אלא אחא במה עסקינן, כגון שסיכן לשלושה בני אדם. Means, so that's how we're learning, not like Rashi. The way umdena mean, what's the umdena that we're referring to? Rashi says סיכן לשלושה בני אדם, like the Maggid Mishnah brings that the first one died and then they all died. But the simple pshat, the Gemara doesn't say they died. What is the pshat? The case of umdena, it's סיכן לשלושה בני אדם. So this show gored 3 people and he put them in dangerous. Meaning, he injured them. You know what happened after 3 times that he did that? He killed another human being. Since he killed another human being after, it shows that the 3 times that he's mesaken, you can interpret it as horeg. The previous case, umdena, just they ran away, they couldn't catch them. That's not cannot say I meshaer, he would have wrecked them. But now, if he already injured 3 people, and we know on the first time he killed somebody, so you interpret it. What mesaken means? This show is killing people. He happened not to kill, but the fourth negicha megale, the umdena of the first 3 negichot, that is considered as a negicha of hariga. So that's beautiful the way Rambam learns. When the Gemara says כגון לסיכן לשלושה בני אדם, meaning he put them in danger.
It says both cases.
He put them he put them in danger. כגון שסיכן לשלושה, he put them in danger. But since our case, what we're talking about, afterwards he killed, that means that the first 3 times were hariga. That answer the Rabbeinu Simcha Kashye. It's not that they died in one shot. No. It's not that he died in one, חידוש רבנו שמחה. It's not that he died in one shot. They didn't die בכלל. But each נגיחה we interpreted to be הריגה. Each סיכון considered as an הריגה. Therefore you have 3 הריגות, is מועד, חייב כופר. It says the Rambam, וכן, continue on the same pattern, and we're going to see also the following one, the same thing. וכן שהרג לשלושה בהמות. A show who killed 3 animals is not... לא, לפני כן. וכן, או הרג 3 בהמות. או הרג 3 בהמות is an identical case to the case of מסכן. Meaning, the first action telling me what happened in the first 3 actions. So this animal נוגח בהמה 3 times. And it's not considered muad לאדם. אבל, says the Rambam, if the first time it's kill Adam, it's megale that the first three negichot of בהמה is also מועד לאדם. The only reason I say מועד לאדם is not מועד לבהמה, כי בהמה it's softer, Adam it's harder. But if you see the first time he killed Adam, that means also the first three negichot were harsh. It just happened to be an animal, not to be Adam. Therefore says the Rambam, if he killed first three animals, and afterwards he killed Adam, it's megale lemafreya that this animal is a killer. There is no difference between Adam and בהמה, and therefore this animal will be muad leAdam. So without changing any pshat of it, it's smooth and simple. Now let's go weiter. Following case, the Rambam continue exactly on the same pattern. Look on the next case. וכן, אם הכירו העדים את בעל השור. The following case, if עדים knew בעל השור.
Where's the Rambam? Getting just talking about.
פרק י' הלוך ג' on the bottom.
It says מועד לבהמה, מועד לאדם.
היי, לא, איפה הוא אומר? ואם סיכן שלושה בני אדם כאחד, עד קייס 1, that הריגה מגלה, קייס 2, או הרג 3 בהמות, the הריגה is מגלה that is מועד, הרי זה מועד להריגה ובעליו משלמים את הכופר. says the Rambam weiter, third similar case. וכן, אם הכירו העדים את בעל השור, ולא הכירו את השור. The העדים knew the owner of the shore, they didn't know the shore. So what did they do? בפעם ראשונה ושנייה ושלישית, he knew there is a shore on this guy is killing, he didn't know who is the shore. So they warned the guy, by the way, there is a shore who's killing by you. וברביעית ראו שורו שהרג, on the first time they saw the shore is the one who kills, ולא היו יודעים אם זה הוא השור שהרג בשלושה פעמים הראשונות, או אחר היה. So on the first נגיחה, they know 3 times there is a shore who guard, they don't know which one. And the first time they recognize the shore. So what's the deal? הואיל והעידו הבעלים שיש להם בבקרם שור שאגר 3 פעמים, היה להם לשמור כל בהמתם, ומאחר שלא שמרו משלמים את הכופר. Send the Rambam, the fourth נגיחה מגלה לי what happened with the previous נגיחות. Therefore, even though I don't know who killed, I know that the first 3 negichot is killing. It's a responsibility of the Barabait. Which means the whole end of the Rambam is mechadesh to you. That anytime the first negicha changing the status of the previous 3 negichot. Either by mesaken, or by behema, or by Adam. So באמת, what's the Lechem Mishneh said there is a difference between nizakin to Adam. It's a big chidush, but we can fit it either the Lechem Mishneh, either without the Lechem Mishneh. Because without the Lechem Mishneh, you can say simple. In Aloch Evav, the Rambam talks about Muad Adam is not Muad lebehema biglal. This is mino. This is she'eno mino. Mishenken in Aloch Yud is talking about that it's megale lemafreya that this animal can kill. So you can say the same thing either by nezikim and by mita.
Can you say that one more time?
You can say the same thing by nezikim by mita. That also by nezikim, after first time is mazik Adam, he chose that he can be mazik בהמה. בלי להאריך, זה משהו צדדי. And you can say also to the Lechem Mishneh, that's a pshat of the Lechem Mishneh. Why בהריגה we do say מועד לאדם is מועד לבהמה? Because בהריגה, the first time it's teaching me that the first 3 times were harsh, the same thing, the same הריגה. So למסכונה, the Gemara is teaching us מועד לאדם is מועד לבהמה conceptually, because it's contained within it, אדם et בהמה, it's harsh. But מועד לבהמה only, it's not מועד לאדם, it's softer, this is harder. פרק ו', the Rambam is teaching us that מועד, פרק ו', the Rambam is teaching us that מועד לאדם, it's not מועד לבהמה, למה זה מינו, וזה אינו מינו. פרק י', the Rambam teaching us that you do have a case where the fourth action is megale what happened on the previous actions, just like בסיכן megale that first one, the previous one is considered as the הריגה, same thing, מועד לאדם, מועד לבהמה. מה אתה אומר? הרי זה, it's a general rule. Since מועד לאדם, הרי זה אינו מועד מיד למינו, הרי זה אינו מועד לאינו מינו. That's what driving the הלכה, that מועד לאדם
Teach
is
you.
not, בגלל זה לא מינו, that's why מועד לאדם is not going to be
So
מועד
when you wrote the
לבהמה.
hares, it's teaching you a general halacha.
Okay.
But then, no, the conceptual idea. But then when you wrote, then after you stopped writing the hares, he taught you the actual halacha.
Yeah, the Arei is not the conception of the Gemara. It's a new din, that's the Gemara in למ"ו, למ"ז. אמרה?
כשדיברנו על שהוא סיכם, או שהרב שלוש בהמות וכולי, הרי זה... איפה הרמב"ם כותב שהוא הרב הפעם רביעית?
לא, זה המקרה פה. לא, זה כל מה, תפתח, הרמב"ם מתחיל את ההלכה הזו ככה. הלכה ג' הואיל וכל בהמה חיה ועוף שהרגו אדם נסכלים, that's our case, איך יימצא מועד להרוג עד שישלמו בעליו את הכופל? So the case of here, we're talking about, that's how the Rambam starts, לא שהמית את האדם בכל מקום. He already killed. He's חייב כופר. How can you pay כופר if he killed the first time without being מועד? So obviously, the case of the Rambam that he killed the first time, and then the first 3 times makes that into. No, I'm not questioning the Rambam. זה מה שהוא כותב. אוקיי. לא, זה לא שומר, זה מה שהוא כותב, זה הפשט.
Alright, in all those cases, he gave examples of 3 that were killed and then a 4th one. What happened?
Yeah, that's all of it. Everything is 3, and then the fourth that מחייב. בכלא מההתחלה הוא מסכן לקבל. נו.
תודה, מעריך את זה מאוד. למה אי אפשר להגיד פשוט? Why can we just say that when it comes to the behavior of Shogun people, we're mahmir in the case of Adam in this regard. We're just mahmir in that action, but we're not going to say it's considered that retroactively he's considered a rotzeach. No, he's not a rotzeach. It's that we're mahmir in this case because he has shown that he's going to go and gore 3 times. Okay, they ran away, they escaped, whatever. Amdu, like the Gemara says. But the fourth time, no, but
it's just siken.
just
Ran away, it's a different case.
So even if siken, the idea is, so they got hit, but they're not dead. Meaning, so now we want to see, we're going to see, or whatever, we're going to wait and see what their condition is. So we're going to say, now we don't know, because we're trying to understand if they pay kofar or not to pay kofar. That's the end of it. So we're trying to know, by the last time he's going to hit, are we going to pay kofar or not going to pay kofar? Because obviously if it just does damage, you're not going to pay kofar. Even if he kills by the 4th time, you're not going to pay kofar because it's just damage. So say we're mahmir, in this case, rather than say we're going to pay, rather than say it's considered as if he actually killed him, when in reality he didn't kill them, or even he can do damage to them, but we're being...
Anybody understood?
Let me try to grab my thoughts and come back to me. Come back.